Good afternoon. My name is Päivi Raivio. I'm an urban designer, placemaker, and co-founder of Partly. My topic today is urban prototyping, small places for big change. We've been working for more than 10 years doing different interventions in public space and discovering new ways of using public space and rethinking of urban spaces and disrupting the status quo using, for instance, unused spaces and increasing citizen participation. We've had great and encouraging results, for instance, increased participation, visualizing possible futures, generating place-led knowledge, which could really be used in the city planning process. However, we've kind of faced the wall, but there is change. There are challenges in city making. It's often very slow. There are big processes and long, quite difficult and complex. But we wanted to think in opposites. We want to think how we can make it faster, easier, and work with smaller places and smaller projects to create change and not stop when we face that wall. So we really think that actually the change making can mostly happen at the doorstep and on the street level. So our mission is to build a network of good public places and to work for the big city vision from smaller places upwards. So how to create change? This really requires a mindset shift, to be honest, not only in organizations, for instance, but also in terms of cities. How we could look at networks, how we could think of empowering stakeholders and citizens, of course, and how we could move from planning to more towards experimentation. And Partly is designed to do exactly that. It's designed to make it easier to say, yes, let's do something in place X. It's designed for experiments, an easy start, multifunctionality, and kind of what comes through the modularity is the multiple ways of use. We really think future cities are made now and should be made now because we are kind of in a hurry. We have huge challenges to address and change has to be started to make right away. So this is our mission, is to fast track sustainable urban change. And these are the key areas we are working with. Adding more urban green, more places for people to come together and connect to nature and to each other. And even if we are looking at a product or services and hardware, we really want to create a place for urban change. And this is our kind of inbuilt knowledge as placemakers. The modules themselves are circular by design, and this can be seen in the materials choices, the design itself, and servicing. We want to move away from the linear thinking and move towards providing these as a service. We also use digital tools for gamification, democratizing the design process. It's easier for people to understand what we are talking about when we can visualize it on site and plan it together. So urban prototyping essentially is not about, not so much about the actual physical interventions. It's about prototyping place ideas, different future scenarios, for instance, or ways how we can connect people to places. And these are some of the ideas we've been testing. We built Pocket Park for a new neighborhood in Kalastama district in Helsinki. Surprisingly, even newly built district seems to lack urban green, which citizens really would like to see there. Small Pocket Park can really support the community building of the new neighbors who don't yet know each other. We've also looked at how we can turn gray square into green one. And aside from that, work with the city planners to carry out phasing, to also show citizens what will be in this square or could be in that square in 5 to 10 years' time when it will be renovated. We are also looking at how we can park people and not cars. But ultimately, Parkly is about experiments which are parallel to the city planning processes. And this is done with the city of Helsinki in Malmi district, where we last summer started with a small experiment and placemaking study, identifying the strengths of the local area and increasing participation of the underrepresented groups. And thanks to creative bureaucrats in the city of Helsinki, Hannah Harris, Chief Design Officer, and Suburban Renewal Project Director, Kimmo Kuisma, we are able to now connect this process even more tightly to the city planning processes. And as Hannah said, these experiments are increasingly needed for building better cities. And these experiments can really feed invaluable data into the long-term design processes, whilst making for a better everyday experience of the city. And city governance itself needs to be able to transform and build creative collaboration from within in order to be able to experiment. And this work is showing results as we are moving on from one-off experiment into building this project up into a placemaking process, which is really tied to the replanning and renovation of the market square and the suburban regeneration project itself. We'll continue our action research on site this summer, increasing the walkability and children's city aspects to the interventions and experiments. There's a lot of potential of urban prototyping, whatever field you might work with. If you work in public health or local food system, Place could be the platform where you can address this issue and experiment new ideas and approaches. And I encourage everyone to think of what are your connections to public places and how public place could work for you and your work. Creative bureaucracy in action is not very easy. It involves all kinds of actions and emotions. In place action, we are talking about adopting new roles, facing doubt, fighting with permissions and jumping different hurdles. And in words, this means we don't know if it will work, will it be vandalized, we'll make it work, or we'll just try and see what happens. But it's all worthwhile when we see the transformation and the quick transformation of public spaces, welcoming different age groups, adding play in our cities, create public places for experience sharing, and really truly be able to visualize this change. And as John Zakara, the author and design theorist, recently said, change is possible when this abstract becomes embodied. And we really think that when information becomes experiences, change can begin. Thank you very much.